Heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm gonna bring in Kate. Kate, good to see you this evening.
So good to be back with my tuners this week.
Next, we've got Peter. Pete, glad to have you with us.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be back. And I was just checking my clock, and it says that it's podcast time.
Dun, dun, dun!
And last, but definitely not least at this point, is
Hey.
Steve.
Hey, everyone.
I know I'm least.
I'm right there with you, Pete.
No comment. Guys, please, if you have not already, like, subscribe, share. That way you'll never miss any of the fun episodes we've got coming up. And I'm actually looking forward to next week's show. So we'll see how it goes. But for this week, we are at our Halloween show, and we are watching the 2023's new Haunted Mansion. Well, I'm just going to jump right into this because the plot is... Okay, Pete, I'm just going to let you start on this one. Was this movie a happy haunting or just plain scary?
Well, there's some movies you watch and you love, and there's some movies you watch and you hate, and there's others movies you watch and you're kind of like, I don't know. There were things I liked about this movie. I liked the actors and the acting for the most part. I enjoyed the characters. I did like that they tried to incorporate this emotional story of loss for the main character. I can't remember any of the characters' names.
Ben?
Yeah, Lakeith. I only know the actors, so Lakeith Stanfield. That they kind of tried to incorporate, that feeling of losing someone and how you respond to that and everything like that. So I appreciated that. And I did, at times it annoyed me, but for the most part, I liked all the references to the ride because there were so many of them. That it was kind of like I always used to say about the Osborne lights, which were the Christmas lights in Hollywood studios. It was like they went so far beyond what would be pleasant, what would be tasteful, that it turned around and went to awesome. And so that's, to me, kind of with the references in this movie, is like, at first I was a little annoyed, and then it was like, oh my God, they have so many references in this movie. Like literally every single thing down to like the doorknobs is represented in here. And so I actually enjoyed that. So I will put those things on the good side. What about you, Steve?
I am sort of right in between. Is it just a little bit scary, or is it on the happy side? I loved the cast. I don't think they lived up to their full potential with the writing. I felt like that fell flat. I really liked, I have to look up his name really quickly, the Travis, Chase Dillon. I thought he was sort of a standout the first time I saw it. Just some of his facial expressions and stuff. I loved all the nods.
Kid?
Yes, that's the kid.
Okay.
Yes. I loved all the nods to the Haunted Mansion. I mean, some of them were so quick. This was the second time I watched it, and I picked up on a few more. I thought the story was weak. It really bothers me they tried to, I don't know if I want to use rewrite, but some of the backstory of the Haunted Mansion, I think that bothered me a lot, of because I know with the Disneyland version, that's one I know really well, is there's some backstory, and I felt like they're trying to tweak it a little too far. So that really bothered me there. Yes, that's all I have to say. How about you, Derek?
So before we got started, Kate Pete said they thought they knew what I was going to say. And they are 100% right. This movie was terrible, guys.
It's like we know you.
Okay. Remember when we talked about the Loki preview? I said Owen Wilson is the same character in every single movie he plays.
Yeah, and I told you that
I'm
then you're going to hate him in this
that.
movie.
I'm going to stand by that. This was every Owen Wilson character ever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
I will say the set was gorgeous. The sets were fantastic. I loved the sets. That being said, I watched this with my wife. We paused it about an hour in because we had some, and we've still got an hour to go. And her exact words were, "Seriously?"
I can hear that in Amy's voice. I can hear it.
Seriously? I enjoyed most of the references to the Haunted Mansion. The one that turned me completely off was when the incantation to get rid of the Hatbox Ghost is the ghost host recitation at the beginning of the ride.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb.
That was
I missed that.
Yeah, that was incredible. That was incredibly dumb. That was the incantation to get rid of him. Except it was like,
how does it go again?
When hinges
creak in
doorless
chambers. That one.
Oh.
That was the incantation. Seriously, there's no better place they could have used that. Although, based on the writing, there's not really a better place they could have used that. Danny DeVito was wasted, not drunk wasted, but there were times. But
yeah, his role was not good.
Jared Leto as the Hatbox Ghost. I would have loved to see him in practical makeup as the Hatbox Ghost, to be perfectly honest.
Agreed.
Because it couldn't have been worse than the CGI. I mean, I don't understand.
This is supposed to be the positive stuff, Derek.
No. This is both. This is both.
Oh, we're supposed to do the negatives too? I'm sorry. Yeah. Then I got to go again.
Yeah, you will get to go in, but no. This is the Hatbox Ghost, to me, felt incredibly forced. Like, that's the only bad. I would have accepted Constance as the bad guy. Constance as the person. But
that's the wife, right? That's the bride.
The bride, yes. Which would have made more sense. But the Hatbox Ghost felt like forced marketing said, I know, let's get the Hatbox Ghost. Everybody loves him at Disneyland. Let's have him be the main villain.
That explains why they're bringing him out at World.
Uh-huh. And putting him in the hallway. The candelabra hallway, they're putting him right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, because in Disneyland, we have him right after we leave the attic with Constance.
I thought he was right as you got into the attic.
Is he a hologram?
Oh, he's right after, before you go into the graveyard.
Before you fall.
Is he a hologram?
No.
No, but
or it's a character performer.
It's a thing where his head disappears and goes into his
Hatbox.
It's a very cool effect.
Yes, but it's not. Yeah. So this was not good. I had very little positive to say, and trust me, I could keep going on what I didn't like. But Kate.
Well, Pete, do you want to go on about what you don't like first?
No, go ahead, Kate. We can come around again.
So I went in with semi-low expectations, and it met my expectations. It exceeded them a little bit, but I am glad that, unlike the Eddie Murphy version, that it did have its scary elements. I don't like scary movies. I'm much like Derek in that I am not a scary movie person. I don't enjoy scary movies. I get very scared in scary movies. And this movie had me jumping a little bit. And so I'm grateful that it was played in a scary-ish way and not just total campy and total humor. Now, I will say that they did a really good job, and I know Derek disagrees with me on this, but they did a really good job of using Danny DeVito and Tiffany Haddish, and a little bit of Owen Wilson to break it up with humor. Even though it wasn't like fall out of your chair laughing, they did have some of their banter did make me chuckle. So I appreciated that. That first scene when they first go in the house and there's the bride flickering and like that. Oh, excuse me. I almost texted Derek to say, I don't know if you should watch this. Because Derek, I don't really know where your scary meter is.
To me, knowing this was Disney and Haunted Mansion and knowing where the scares would go, this was fine.
Okay.
Because again, I can't even count the number of times I've ridden the ride, and this is gonna be close enough to the ride the way they've advertised it that
I would have hated this movie as a kid. I would have hated it. This movie would have scared me very, very bad as a kid. I will say, I did not see the plot twist coming. With the little boy being the one to willingly, I did not see that coming. I thought it was going to be the main character with his wife. So I did not see that coming, which I was like, ooh, good on you. Because usually I can call things like that. And maybe I was just not paying attention.
No, because I didn't see it till like just before.
I also didn't expect the Hatbox Ghost to be the big bad. That was also a little bit of a plot twist for me because I was trying to figure out, because when they kept saying he's coming, I was like, wait, I thought the bride was the villain in this. Like Constance, I thought she was the villain,
which would have made more sense.
Yeah.
So when they kept saying, and plus she's like the first ghost that they run into or whatever. So, this is, y'all, please don't judge me for this, but one critique I had is I hated Rosario Dawson's wig. It was
bad.
awful.
It was terrible.
It was so bad.
What was as bad as the Star Wars one?
Like, it almost made me, when they first showed Travis and Rosario Dawson, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I don't know why I'm yawning so much today. When they first showed them, because of her hair and their clothing, I almost thought it was a throwback. I thought we were going into the past. And actually, I thought at first that this was the origin story of what's
Gracie?
his name? No. The main guy, Ben. When it like they showed Ben and his like thing, and then they said he's like, oh, I don't do ghosts or whatever. And then it went back. I was like, oh, maybe this is how and why he doesn't do ghosts, is because he went, what?
And how you could tell on that is the very beginning had the blur around the edges. That's how I could kind of tell that it was the past. And then the Rosario Dawson stuff did not. It was all crisp.
Got it.
I didn't notice that.
So that confused me a little bit, but I didn't grab as many Easter eggs as I thought. I thought I was going to get more Easter eggs. I didn't catch nearly as many as I thought I was going to the point where I kind of want to go watch it again just to catch Easter eggs, but I didn't like it that much. I thought the acting was great. Cast was great. It was fine. It was fine. It wasn't hocus pocus, but it was fine. Go ahead, Pete. What else did you want to?
See, that's kind of what my wife and I were comparing it to, was like, I can see this is, because to me, hocus pocus is also fine. It's not great. It's not bad. It's fine. And that's kind of what this is. I talked about what I liked. The one thing I forgot to mention is I did like that they used the ghost will follow you home as a plot device.
Yes.
I did think that was very clever, that, that's what drew everybody back to the Haunted Mansion and everything. I don't really like, though, what there were some really dumb things that were part of that to keep the plot secret. Like when he's initially coming to the house and she's like, "Are you sure you want to come in? You might not want to come in." It's like, if you really don't want the guy to come in, wouldn't you just tell him the house is haunted and you're gonna be possessed by a spirit, and then he'd be like,
"Oh, that's want him to come in," because she wanted to have someone answer the questions about the ghosts.
Right, but why would you? But in that case, why would you say anything?
Yeah, that's fair.
So, okay. So what I didn't like, I thought Rosario Dawson's character was kind of a black hole. I didn't mean that to sound racist.
I know.
I got
you know what I mean? She didn't have really much personality, unfortunately, like many of the other characters did. I thought she was kind of underwritten. The movie, just too much CGI, just an overload of CGI.
Yeah.
I would have liked to seen maybe a little more practical stuff, and then the other thing, I said there were just some really dumb parts to the plot in order to fit in all the Easter eggs and everything like that. That they almost seemed like they were so beholden to having all these things that, I mean, even like the Jamie Lee Curtis as Madame Leota, I thought was not that great.
No.
So that's, and then I don't know if this is the place to talk about it, but I'd like to talk to you guys about the marketing a little bit. But
so I would love to hear about it. I don't remember any marketing for it.
Which is exactly the problem.
Well, no. I saw the trailers and the ads during the summer, and I remember watching it and going, well, first of all, why is this movie coming out in July?
Yeah.
Which is stupid. But even beyond that,
I know why. They wanted it on Disney Plus by Halloween. That's the only possible explanation.
That's still stupid. If you want to make money, in the theaters, if it's a good movie, people are going to watch it, whether it comes out on Halloween or whenever.
Correct.
But like,
you see, you brought up something there. If it's a good movie,
right? Well, right, but it isn't a particularly good movie. So like, and then the marketing, I couldn't figure out from the marketing if it was supposed to be a scary movie. The marketing felt like they wanted people to think it was going to be a scary movie. It was not. I'm sorry, Kate. Yes, it was scary to an 8-year-old, but to anyone older than like 14, this was not in any way a scary movie. There were a couple of minor jump scares, but there really wasn't anything genuinely. I mean, it's like calling Hocus Pocus a scary movie.
Hocus Pocus had its moments.
Again, if you're 8, yes. As an adult,
I have the fear of an 8-year-old, so it's good.
Well, okay, but for me, and I'm not a scary movie guy. This movie should have been marketed as more of more of the comedy aspect of it, and I felt like it was marketed as something in between that you couldn't tell what it was. So I think they marketed it poorly. It wasn't a great movie, but I think they could have done something better with it. I could see it being that people get into it over the years and it becomes a regular watch for Halloween, more so than the Eddie Murphy movie. But Steve, do you have any negative? You didn't do any negative in the first round, so you're muted. Sorry.
You're still muted. While he figures that out, to me, I think part of the reason, honestly, they went away from the funniness of it is because of the Eddie Murphy movie. Because so many people share your life, Steve.
Yay! I mentioned that I didn't like how they changed the backstory of the Haunted Mansion. That was my big negative.
Oh, okay.
Adding to you, though, also remember when this first came out, that's when the actor strike happened. So all like promo like stuff stopped. So because I remember they had the big premiere at Disneyland and all the actors were supposed to be there. And then that totally changed. But I agree. I think it was poor marketing for this movie.
Yeah. All right. Sorry.
Yeah. And this this did release 2 weeks into the actors strike. So yeah, none of the actors were at the premiere. I mean, this lost $40 million.
Really?
Yeah, budget of 155, made about 118. So, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, we talked about all the right Easter eggs, and I'm just kind of curious what your guys' favorite ride Easter egg from this that you saw. Now, I'm going to go first because my favorite ride Easter egg was when they were in the not the Gracie house, the Crump house, which how great is it that they named the villain after Wally Crump, who was the Imagineer that helped design the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
My favorite ride Easter egg is when they're looking around and the detective comes in makes it a murder mystery, and you hear the music playing in the background. It's a small world, and he says, "Okay, guys, no singing along." So,
Oh, that's funny. See, I'm pissed that I missed things like that. I didn't pick up on that.
you didn't miss anything else. So that's what I mean. That was my favorite ride Easter egg. It was not a Haunted Mansion one. It was one of those other little outside things that you had to really be listening and paying attention to know what it was. Okay, Kate, how about you? What was the favorite Easter egg?
This was hard because I missed a lot of them. So and Steve and I actually talked about this when I saw him when we were up in Seattle, because he said we watched it again to catch, or we were going to watch it, or we watched it again to catch the Easter eggs. I think I misunderstood, because when the ghost follows Ben home, when he took the picture, I thought it was the 3 hitchhiking ghosts. And it was not. It was the water
Sea captain.
Yeah, but when he took the picture, if you looked at it, it had a little gold dot here, a little gold dot here, and a little gold dot here. So I was like, "Oh my god, of course it's the hitchhiking ghost followed him home. That's brilliant." And then it wasn't them. Other than that, I loved how the different ways that they put the Haunted Mansion theme song into it. I loved the music throughout it, and how just the little bits of Haunted Mansion music. I I don't know why I thought this was great, but the 2 guys were in the duel,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and Rosario Dawson was like, "Anytime I walk through here, I get 2
Pain in
pains
my
on both my sides." I was like, "That's funny." Like, it's not funny. No one likes to get shot, but like, that's clever.
Yeah.
I liked Madame Leota, but I think Jamie Lee Curtis is such a brilliant actress and can be so funny, and she was so underplayed. Madame Leota, I feel like that had the potential to be just an iconic character, and the way that they wrote it's not Jamie Lee Curtis's fault. The way they wrote it fell very flat. But anyway, I don't want to take all. Pete, you go.
I thought this was going to be Derek's, and maybe it's going to be Steve's, but I liked seeing the Donald Duck chair. That was in when they were doing the seance. I think it was Lakeith Stanfield was in the Donald Duck chair, and then later when Danny DeVito gets shot out of the mansion, he's in that chair too. So I liked that. And I also liked that they, as I said, some things didn't work, but I kind of liked how they worked the stretching room in.
Yes.
So
mine was, yes, I loved seeing the Donald Duck chair. So I like, am I the only person who calls it the Donald Duck chair? But I also loved I didn't catch it the first time, but it's from the ballroom scene, the old lady who stands up in the chair and blows out the birthday candles.
Yeah.
Because it was during one of the flashbacks when we're starting to learn about Gracie. So not later in the ballroom scene. So one of those quick, if you know, because there's so much happening in the ballroom scene, but I liked that quick little nod to that.
Yeah, definitely. And honorable mention to as they move the medium, and I don't remember her name, but
Tiffany Haddish's character.
Yeah.
As her chair looking like the Doom buggy.
Yes, that was clever too, I thought too.
Oh, when she got taken out of the house?
Yeah,
I enjoyed that one too.
Yeah. So
it was Harriet.
Harriet.
didn't
Harriet
watch-
was the character's
Yes.
name, yeah.
I feel like if I were to go back and I don't think I will rewatch this movie, but if I were to, it would only be to watch for the Easter eggs. So
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've all seen the Eddie Murphy version. We've now watched this. We've also watched the Muppet Haunted Mansion version. What of those three is the best haunted show? Steve.
Definitely not Eddie Murphy. That is a movie that should have been on just made for TV.
straight
and I
to
watched
video.
that. I watched that this weekend for the first time ever.
Oh, why?
Well, because I knew we were comparing the three, so I felt I had to give it a
had to give it a shot, yeah.
Oh, and I watched the Muppet one again this weekend, but the Muppet one's so different.
Steve, you're so dedicated. I'm so impressed.
I'm gonna go with the Muppet one, but just by a hair. This like a little piece of fur. Like
Okay.
little Gonzo's, like little one of those
A little
little
tuft,
feathers.
if you will.
For me, it is the Muppets hands down because
Raise your hand if you're surprised by this, everyone. That's what I thought.
No.
Because to be perfectly honest, until about the last 15 minutes, this and Eddie Murphy were neck and neck.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
Because I liked up until near the end, I liked that the Eddie Murphy went full campiness, went full cheese, because they did. I mean, it was never meant to take itself seriously until the last 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes of this was better than the last 15 minutes of the Eddie Murphy bit. Other than that, I don't want to watch either one of them again. So, but to me, it's the Muppet version all the way. I kept going along going, if they're going to pull in all these different references, at least make it funny. This was not a funny movie at all. So, to me, Muppets hands down. Kate?
I'm actually going to divert to Pete first because I have an answer, but I want my answer to segue into another question. So, Pete, you go first.
Okay. I'm with Steve on this one. I think I would put the Muppet, like, in terms of going back to it. Like, if someone said, okay, which one would you most likely to go back to and watch? Eddie Murphy one, I never need to see that movie again. The Muppets one, I'm more likely to go back and like watch it every year than this one. That I would not probably want to watch every year. To say I would never watch it again, I wouldn't go there. I probably would, maybe 2 or 3 years, give it another try. I'm the type of person that I like to give a movie, especially one that I feel this way about, which is, as I said, kind of like I feel like I eventually will want to give it another chance and see see how it ages with me. But yeah, I got to go with the Muppets as the most enjoyable one. And it's also like, it's tighter, right? It's shorter.
It is
so
shorter.
It's not going to take 2 hours of your time. So, all right, Kate, what's your,
so hold on.
She's telling me something in the background, guys. So it's my fault.
It is his fault. Okay, there you go, Derek. So of the three, I think I would either have either this one or the Muppets. I don't think I ever watched the Eddie Murphy one because I heard it was so bad. Or maybe we had it on in a break room one day. But I would actually prefer, of those three and more, I would prefer the Tower of Terror movie. So that leads me to my question of, if they were to create a movie and you knew it was going to be really good, like you knew it wasn't going to be dumb, it was actually going to be the perfect blend of scary and comedy, it was going to stay true to the storyline, and it was going to be a good movie, which would you rather see? Would you rather see a Haunted Mansion movie, which they've now had 3 of, or would you rather see a really well done Tower of Terror movie? That was the question. Pete,
And
I'll
what's
start with
your,
you.
no, what's your answer?
Tower of Terror.
Why?
Because one, I like the era that Tower of Terror is set in. I like the music from that era. I like the idea of there's so much you can do with that idea of the Twilight Zone. There's so much you can do.
It's almost like they should make a show out of it.
Derek, every time they make a show out of something, you're always like, this should be a movie.
No, Kate, please don't show your millennialness.
This should be a movie. This should be
Kate,
done in 2
Kate,
hours. This
Kate,
doesn't need to be a
Kate.
6-part episodic
Kate,
show.
have you ever seen the TV show The Twilight Zone? For like
Oh,
four,
well, yeah, that's a good point. But how do
Yeah,
you tell?
four
Yeah,
plus-
I mean, that's a good point. So my answer would be Tower of Terror. Pete, what about you?
I think I would go with Haunted Mansion because I'm not sure there's enough plot stuff in Tower of Terror to really make for. I mean, it's like 5 people disappear, and
Oh, no.
that's it. there isn't even
Well,
any
right,
more
but
plot to
if
it. Like
you
they
knew
don't come
that there
back.
was going to be a good plot. Like there was going to be. And
But
I know
what's
you
the
all
plot?
don't like the Tower of Terror movie, but I thought that they did a pretty good job with. Well, is that on Disney Plus? We should watch that.
No.
No, it's not on Disney Plus. So no, we shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't watch it.
Come on, it's got
Yes.
Steve Guttenberg and Kristen Dunst in it.
Yes. Anyway,
I like Derek's idea because you could do an episode for each of the characters that you see in the preview show, telling their backstory. And it could all tie into that fateful night when they get zapped.
that's actually not a bad
Yeah.
idea. I like that. I like
All right.
that.
I'm with Derek. I don't need it's one of my favorite rides, but I don't need a Tower of Terror movie. So Steve, you're saying Tower of Terror?
If if it was going to be a new attraction, it would be Tower of Terror because that's my top number 1 ride that I totally enjoy. So yes, Tower of
And
Terror.
for me,
I think I know the answer to this.
the Disneyland version is so much better, but let that completely of Tower of Terror, that completely aside, I want it to be the Haunted Mansion because I do not like scary movies. And if you're gonna do a Tower of Terror movie properly, you're gonna have scary, you're gonna have people chasing, you're gonna have dismembered bodies all over the place. Like no, like when the elevator shafts and everything disappears, there's people in the edge that fall off. You know it's coming. I mean, to get it to be a good Tower of Terror movie, it's gonna be terrifying.
Well, but like Twilight Zone was scary, but it was never gory.
No, if we're gonna stick it with the Twilight Zone, absolutely 100% Tower of Terror complete. I love 90% of the Twilight Zone series, and I've watched. I have 90% of the Rod Serling Twilight Zone.
Right? Yeah, of course.
The new one is horrid, but so if it can fulfill the typical Twilight Zone plot, everything along those lines, I mean, there are some of those Twilight Zone episodes that are brilliant. I mean, Nightmare at 30,000 Feet is phenomenal. That's William Shatner and the Alien.
Mm-hmm.
There are others that, just are so fabulous that if it could be a true Twilight Zone-esque movie, Tower of Terror 100%.
Yeah, I just don't think if they drew it out to an hour and a half, I can't see them doing it right.
I can't. Again, I think Steve's is the only way to do it. But I would show the episode of all of them disappearing first. And then if you want to know more about the people, show the rest of them. Go watch the rest of them.
So the Lost Tower of Terror.
Yes. The tower. I want to
Lost
watch
the TV series.
Yeah, I want to watch. Oh no!
No, without the subsequent seasons, just one season.
Okay.
The first season of Lost was fantastic.
I have a question.
Of course you do.
Just really quick. No, this is actually going to be a really fast one. What was the name of the other mansion that was where
Crump Manor.
Crump.
Yeah.
Was that the look of that mansion? Was that more based on the Disney World Haunted Mansion?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
I would say that is another Easter egg for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, the fact that they use Crump in that as to go towards Wally Crump and to say how great he was in his contributions to this. The only other way, I wish they could have worked in a Tensio somewhere.
Yeah.
So
I just when the Crump Mansion popped up, I was like, I think that's the mansion from Disney World where the Haunted Mansion was the one from Disneyland. I thought that was
Disneyland,
really cool.
yeah.
Yes.
So, that's all.
Okay. As we always do, Pixie Dust ratings out of 5. And Kate, you always get to start. So here we go.
You know what? Do I want to feel generous tonight? I'm somewhere between a 2.5 and a 3. I'm gonna go. What did I rank Hocus Pocus at, Derek? Are you able to see?
Give me just a moment to check. You rated the original Hocus Pocus as a 3.5.
All right, I'm gonna give this a 2.5.
Okay.
I'm right with you, Kate. That's right where I am, like 2.5 to 3. I think I'm gonna give it a 3 only because I would recommend it to Disney fans to watch because of all the Easter eggs to the movie. I do think it's worth watching at least once. So I think I'm gonna give it a 3. I could change that to 2.5. I could be convinced 2.5. It wasn't great, but I think I'm gonna give it a 3. Steve?
And I'm like Kate and Pete. I'm right between that 2.5, 3.
Woo!
I'm gonna go with my initial reactions. I saw it in a preview this summer, and when I walked out, my gut reaction was 2.5. So I'm sticking with 2.5. They rewrote too much of the history, so 2.5.
And I'm going to stick with my gut reaction at a 1.5. Guys, this was not to me, this was not a good movie. I would say there are so many other things. To be perfectly honest, if I want to watch for Easter eggs, I would almost rather watch if I'm just going to watch for Easter eggs, I would almost rather watch the Eddie Murphy version. But if it's just for the Easter eggs, they're funnier in the Eddie Murphy version. So, but if you truly want the Easter eggs, go watch the Muppet version. It's full of them. It has most of them that this has done mostly better. So
yeah. Oh, let me ask this: what did I give the Muppet one?
You gave
probably like a 4.
You gave the Muppet Haunted Mansion, and I have to go back a little while because it's been 2 years.
Is it really?
You gave it's been 2 years. You gave Muppet Haunted Mansion a 3.5. Kate, you gave it a 3. Steve, you gave it a 3, and I gave it a 4.
So I gave it a 3.5.
Do you need to downgrade this to a 2.5 then?
Let's put this at a 2.5 because I think I'm very much with Steve and Kate on this movie.
That's fair.
I know you disliked it a lot, but I think the three of us are all about the same in that, like, we didn't hate it, but it wasn't great.
That's fair.
So, yeah.
Oh, Kate, what have we got for Disney Plus news this week?
We don't have very much at all in Disney Plus news. The only thing we have is Werewolf by Night has been re-released in a full color version on Disney Plus. Previously, the special was in black and white with select spots of color. And I personally think, that you lose half of the allure of it.
You lose all of the allure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that to Schindler's List? No.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that. Yes, that.
Right? No.
Yeah, it's just not.
It was designed to be in black and white. I'm good.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Kate, we got one more.
Nope. Sure don't, my friend.
I sure do. Spider-Man Far From Home is actually coming to Disney Plus November 3rd. So that was announced yesterday. I'm sorry it doesn't show up on your sheet.
Wow.
It does not show up on my sheet, but I thought we were looking at the same sheet.
I thought we were as well. So
there is
apparently
nothing
not.
on number 2.
Nope, it's not on our sheet either. My sheet either.
Okay.
So
So apparently I was the only one who did
too much bourbon.
Yeah, too much bourbon today. Yeah, today it is bourbon. A little Irish whiskey, but yeah. So no, too much. I had to watch this movie right before I had to go to a concert with my sons and then come back here. So that's what it was too much of. So next week, speaking of the Muppets, we are jumping onto the Muppet Treasure Island next week.
Arr, pirates.
With Tim Curry as Long John Silver.
Ooh.
This is a follow-up, honestly, to Muppet Christmas Carol. It was so successful that they decided to do another one with Gonzo and Rizzo as the narrator. So I'm honestly hoping this is as good and as funny as I remember it being. Because I remember it being funny and good, and I want to see it again. But it has also probably been at least 25 years.
This is the only Muppet movie I have not seen.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
So, and I don't think I saw all of Muppets from Space. That was bad.
Don't.
I like started watching it and was just like, this isn't good.
Yeah.
So,
guys, we've got a couple holes coming up and definitely some stuff next January because as of now, the actors strike is still on and nothing new is being made. So we need some suggestions. Please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. We have new episodes every Thursday on YouTube and all the major podcasting services. For Kate, Pete, Steve, I want to say a very special happy birthday at Disneyland to our producer Gina, who's off this week. And
happy birthday, Gina.
Happy birthday.
We will see everyone next week. Bye, guys.
And a ghost will follow you home.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.